Welcome to the 2012 TVG Pacific Classic preview. This is the preview for the big race of the meet. I'm here with Matt once again, and we're going to jump right into this race. We're going to look at who we think has a good shot here. For me, I like in this race the only filly in this race, a good 4-year-old filly in Imani, who is coming off the Clement L. Hirsch. She ran a decent Beyer in 96. She's capable of getting this distance at 1.25 miles, as she ran a big one 3 back at down in Chile. What do you think of Imani's chances here?
Well, yeah, Imani's an interesting filly you got here because she was flying at the end in her last race, got a 96 Beyer, and she ran a very nice race to include Mia, who's a really, really nice filly in her own right. But Imani, the distance should fit her well, and she's running at 1.25 miles before, like you pointed out, 25 lengths. I don't really know what the competition is over there and how it compares to here. But she won by 25 lengths, and she could definitely run. And she was coming at the end, and she should get this distance, no problem. Distance isn't going to be a problem. She ran nice, so you know she's going to like the poly track. She's got a race over the track. So I think she's definitely dangerous in this race.
Yeah, I think she's definitely crying for more distance. I think the 1.16 was too short for her, also including the fact that she hadn't raced since December, and Gomez gets back aboard, and Drysdale made the decision to bring her into this race against the boys. Intrigues me a lot.
They have a lot of confidence in her. Gomez hops on; he has confidence. Drysdale, he had the confidence to put her in this race. This was not an owner decision, so that's obviously a very good sign as well.
A very good sign indeed, and also in the Pacific Classic, a standout horse that I believe should be recognized here is Dawahan, who's coming from the East Coast for Dale Romans. Joel Rosario comes in to ride the horse that ran in the Kentucky Derby, that finished third in the Derby, and didn't really have anything to show in the Belmont or the Haskell. Interesting horse because he's had very good success on synthetic surfaces.
Yeah, it looks like he's a synthetic turf horse. Won the Bluegrass Stakes very nicely at Keeneland. Won the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland when he was 2, and he's a nice horse for sure. He's definitely has run some really nice races. These in the Belmont and the Haskell, both on dirt. He just disappointed. He disappointed very badly. And in the Kentucky Derby, he ran a very good third, although he may have just been passing tiring horses that day. But Rosario comes in to ride this horse, and that's a good sign. He must feel this horse is live if he's coming in to ride it. And I think Dawahan's getting back on his preferred surface, which is a very good thing as well. And if he runs back to his form in the Bluegrass and the Breeders' Futurity, it's going to be interesting to see how he does, although the closers, it's been difficult at times at Del Mar for these closers to get up and win these races. So it'll be interesting to see how he does, but he should be coming from out of it and make one big run.
And now we must move on towards the horse on the rail here, coincidentally named Rail Trip, who won the prep race for the Pacific Classic, the San Diego Handicap. That was a pretty slow pace. I'm pretty sure he probably won't get the same trip, and also extending 1.25 miles. He did race in this Pacific Classic back in 2009. He finished a third, where he showed a Beyer 105 when he lost to Richard's Kid. I think Rail Trip at 10-1 might be a bit too high.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked he's 10-1. I thought he'd be a little lower. He ran a really nice race in the San Diego Handicap, but like you said, he got a very slow pace to run at. But he did have to run by John Scott, and John Scott's a very nice horse in his own right. John Scott's a tough horse to get by. He tries hard all the time, and Rail Trip got by him. So maybe he's starting to round back into form. Ron Ellis, got to give him a lot of credit as he's the trainer, and he's done an outstanding job getting this horse back to where he needs to be. The 1.25 miles distance should be no problem. He's run it before. This horse, I think, is a professional. He had a rough trip. He had a rough time in New York, but he's rounded into form. I think he'll run well, but I think it's going to be difficult for him to win this race. But he should get a nice stalking trip and he can make a run from the rail, although the rail's a difficult spot post position for him. But it suits him well. His name's Rail Trip, so he's going to be getting that. And Valdivia knows this horse well. But so this horse is definitely a contender in this race. But he's going to have to run very well. If he runs back in the San Diego handicap form, you never know.
Yeah, I think Rail Trip's going to have to run a lot better than the San Diego handicap. I mean, he's not going to get that slow pace like he did last time. I mean, he's going to have to go against the likes of such as a horse as Richard's Kid, who has won the Pacific Classic twice. He's going to be looking for his third, but this time he doesn't get his regular rider in Bejarano. He's going to get Victor Espinoza.
Yeah, Richard's Kid, it's interesting, switches barns to Leandro Mora barn, also Doug O'Neill, but he's on suspension, so Leandro Mora takes over here. This horse is a little similar to a Rail Trip story. He's real well in California in 2010. He won the Pacific Classic twice in 2009 and 2010. And then they took him to Dubai, and he just didn't do anything over there. And they brought him back here, and he's done very well since. But as a lot of us probably already know, he's in a different barn. He's not in Bob Baffert's barn anymore. But I don't think that's going to matter. He should get a perfect trip. He should get a bit of pace to run out here. And he is definitely a big contender, as a lot of people think. And he's won this race twice, so that's obviously a danger too. He loves this track. He's 3 for 5 at Del Mar, and 5 for 5 in the money. He's going to run a big race here, but I'm inclined to bet against him. I think I think this is going to be a hard race. I don't think this is a walkover for him, but he is a big contender here, and you better look out for him.
Yeah, I mean, Richard's Kid, I mean, there's definitely no downgrade in Espinoza. Espinoza's definitely capable of getting the ride, and Leandro Mora is not just a no-name trainer. We all know him as the assistant trainer for Doug O'Neill. So, Richard's Kid, I mean, even though they just got this horse in the barn recently, I just expect this horse to still at least run in the money, a big race. And speaking of the old trainer in Bob Baffert, he has 2 in this race. We'll speak of one of his longer shots first here in Jaycito, as Bejarano sees fit to go on Jaycito.
Yeah, Jaycito, he's an interesting horse. He's had some physical issues, breathing issues, and he's sort of been bounced around. He's run in some pretty big races. He was very highly regarded as a 2-year-old. As you could see, the races he run in the Del Mar Futurity, in the Norfolk, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, San Felipe, the Strube Stakes, as he got old as a 3-year-old. But he went in an optional claimer last time here at Del Mar and won by a length. He ran really nice. But Oil is Black Gold and Planet Sunshine, the second and third place finishers of that race, wouldn't even be close in this race. So Jaycito is taking another big step up in class. This is probably the biggest race of his life, if you don't want to count the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's facing some very nice horses in here, and although Baffert and Bejarano, they team up yet again, he is going to really have to step it up here, and I would be shocked if he won this race because he is in against some tough competition.
He's going to have to run the race of his life, no doubt. I mean, looking, like you mentioned, his past race where he beat horses such as Oils, Black Gold, and Planet Sunshine, horses that would probably finish last in this race. He's going to have to definitely step up big. And looking at the other Baffert race, the horse in this race, the morning line favorite here at 5-2 in Game On Dude, obviously going to be probably the favorite with Chantel Sutherland aboard.
Yeah, we all know what he's going to do. He's going to be close up. I think he can rate, but sometimes he wants to go, and Chantal doesn't really want to fight him, and she sort of just let him do. She lets him do what he wants, and you can't complain here. I mean, he's run some really nice races. His last 2 races have been outstanding. He didn't run too well in Dubai, but the Breeders' Cup Classic in November at Churchill Downs, he ran an unbelievable second. And he's just a solid racehorse right now. He's at the top of his game. Last year in the Pacific Classic, Bob Baffert had said afterwards he was not happy with the way this horse trained over this track, but this year he's doing much better, so it'll be interesting. But he's another one. I don't trust him on this track. And just because he's training well doesn't mean he's going to run well on it. But if he runs his race like he did in the Hollywood Cold Cup, at the same time, he's going to be very difficult to beat here if he runs that race. But I don't necessarily think he will, and I think someone's going to go out there and pressure him. and it's going to be a little more difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher for this horse to get a nice, easy lead, as you could, if you look at his past performances, has been able to get somewhat of an easy lead at some point in his races. And I think handicappers are going to really look at his buyers and see the more consistency in his buyers that he's had than other horses. I mean, he's going to have to deal with the speed, such as the horse who was outside in Riveting Reason, who's coming out of a race with, speaking of Planet Sunshine and Oil's Black Gold, who he lost to. He's pretty much Riveting Reason, I would expect, especially with David Flores, to go out to the front and somewhat might set up a speed duel.
Yeah, Riveting Reason is going out to the front. It looks like if he probably should in his last race. In his last race, he went out to the front. He should do this race unless they try to sit back. But I would think that this would be the horse that could be to either him or Acadian. One of these two are going to be close to the pace here. Just going to go as fast as he can, as far as he can. But he's going to have to really step it up here.
Yeah, he's going to have to step it up. We have to look at another contender here in Suggestive Boy, the Argentinian bred for Ron McAnally. Joe Talamo decides to stay aboard, and this horse makes it a transition from turf to synthetic.
Yeah, he ran an amazing race in the Wicker. Very, very impressive. He ran a great race in the Shoemaker Mile with Geronimo. It'll be interesting to see how Geronimo runs. But this horse has been working very well on the synthetic tracks. It's been reported he's been working well. And a mile and a quarter should be just fine for him. I'm really excited to see this horse, and I think if he gets a good stalking trip, he is going to be my top pick. I really like him. I think he's primed for a really, really nice race, career best. And I'm excited to see this horse. McAnally knows what to do with these Argentinian imports, as he had Candy Ride, and he says Suggestive Boy is training better than Candy Ride did going into this race when he won it with Julie Crone years back. So I'm really excited to see this horse, and he will be my selection, Suggestive Boy. If he gets a good stalking trip, he may be the one.
Now let's move on to one of the last horses here that we're going to talk about. Number 4, Where's Sterling for Luis Ramirez, and Paco Lopez comes in from the East Coast to ride this horse, who he has had some experience. What do you think of his chances?
Well, I think he should be stalking too. He's running some really nice races. The Dawn Handicap, he ran the Hawthorne Gold Cup, but he's another one. He's 10 for 14 in the money, but these are the big boys he's running against. I mean, he ran against some nice horses, Forlorn, Himbook, Headache's a nice little horse, Boys to Tuscanova, but he's going to have to really step it up here. And he ran on the synthetic once and finished second, so you see, he'll be okay. The distance, he's 0 for 2 here. So he's going to have to really step it up. Paco Lopez comes in to ride this horse, but I think he may just be a notch below these type.
I agree. For me, my top pick in this race, you've already said your top pick is going to be Suggestive Boy. I think I'm going to stick with my guns, as I said earlier, and I'm going to go with Imani, the filly. I hope 5-1. 5-1's a good price for me, but I hope to get a little bit higher, as I expect handicappers to really go in with Richard's Kid, Dawahan perhaps, maybe Rail Trip will be bet down, and hopefully Game On Dude will get some money as well, and as well as Suggestive Boy. But I think the filly can get it done here. I think the extending in distance, putting her out to 1.25 miles, will really benefit her, and Gomez, and seeing that Neil Drysdale, the Hall of Fame trainer, sees fit to put her in this race.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what if she has any pace to run at. She showed a great kick at the end in her last race, so she should be running on in the end. I'm going to be looking for her coming from behind, but if there's no pace in this race, if Riveting Reason decides to take back and Acadian doesn't want to go out either, and Game On Dude gets an easy lead, it may be just deja vu all over again with Game On Dude getting another Grade 1 win. But if there's no pace, I think that someone needs to go to I think someone's going to try to fall Game On Dude and put some pressure on him. Especially someone like Riveting Reason who's outside of Game On Dude. But if this happens, Imani could definitely win this race. Suggestive Boy, though, my top pick, I think he's going to be in a perfect stalking position. May get first jump on Imani, and he is going to be my pick.
Interesting pick, I must say, since the horse is coming out of the Wicker. But, we can definitely respect each other's pick. And that's our preview for the Grade 1 Pacific Classic, TVG Pacific Classic. Big racing day, the biggest race of the meet, and good luck to you handicappers out there.
Good luck.